welcome back to the channel. One of the last outside activities for this year is a little bit of cleanup underneath the woodshed. I end up splitting and stacking some of the pine for campfire wood and getting rid of all the unusable pieces. Also, I take the brush cutter in order to keep an area underneath the woodshed clear that I want to keep open for the future. I don't have specific plans for what it's going to be, maybe just a staging area for firewood, but either way, I don't want any further brushes, shrubs, or trees to spring up here. There's also a bunch of branches and bigger pieces of wood littered all about that I spend some effort cleaning up, so that next year maybe I can actually drive the lawnmower on this territory. This and another switched outlet are actually the only sources of light in our living room currently. With the holidays coming up and us hosting, we want to install ceiling lights, which is one of the next steps of the downstairs renovation anyway, in order to be able to entertain. As always, we start with a long discussion about the layout. Also, you can tell in this picture on the left side where the kitchen renovation ended and the living room renovation has not yet started. Making holes with the hole saw is, while it's super messy, relatively easy, especially because I've done it so many times by now. Later that evening, while we're all hanging out, I start running some of the wires to get prepared for the next morning. By the way, in this shot you can tell pretty well how dark the living room actually is once it's dark outside. Mike stops down and helps with opening up and closing the drywall, as well as helping me figure out the wiring. We take advantage of the fact that the outlet already has a switch going to it and run power up to the light grid from there. One of the unintended consequences of this is that unfortunately now the outlet no longer has any power, but that's something that we could fix later by running more power up from the basement. After the wire is run and the connection is made, Mike makes quick work of closing and patching up the holes in the drywall while I start installing the first lights. After that, we work in sequence, with Mike going first and stripping the wires, and me following behind to install the remaining lights. And just like that, we have light. On the other side, one of the connections isn't made correctly, but that's fortunately a relatively quick fix. Here we go. The second thing that we want to accomplish before Thanksgiving and Christmas is to make the pantry, which is right off of the kitchen, more functional again. In order to do that, I retrieved some of the old shelving which we had removed from the room. As you can see, the room is still not completely finished, and I will first need to cut and install baseboards before installing the shelving. And once more, the garage turns into a workshop and descends into chaos. After cutting and fitting all of the pieces, I start nailing them in. The two shelves that were previously on both ends of the pantry are actually symmetrical, and we want to double them up and both put them on the same end to give us extra deep shelving for larger appliances. I need to make a few simple relief cuts on the bottom to make room for the baseboards which I've just installed. The pantry is 3 feet wide, and the fit of the shelves is so tight that I'm actually forced to take off the switch. Fine, while I'm at it, let's just install a new switch. This is the setup for now, which will serve us great throughout the holidays. It's still not completely done. On the right side, we're probably going to install a beverage fridge and a permanent countertop, but so far so good. Something that's been a lot of fun this year has been really leaning into the holiday spirit with the kids. Our friends from Germany are visiting over the long Thanksgiving weekend, and we spend the majority of Saturday making cookies. Another project I've been working on in the evenings is making an Advents calendar for our older son. I start by cutting out Christmas tree shapes out of chipboard with a CNC. I've purchased some cork coasters and put a slit in the middle that the Christmas trees get inserted to. I take green cardboard and glue it up to the outsides of the chipboard shape. Now you have a handle on a lid that later will sit on a little clay flower pot. As the final touches, I'm adding some moss with a hot glue gun, which I got at the craft store. The pots are numbered 1 through 24, and each day will have a small piece of candy or item in them for the days leading up to Christmas. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.